and get ready to devote a few hours today to the program.
So you mentioned that your husband is a carrier.
Yes, my boyfriend, he's a owner operator, but with the flatbed right now it's so slow, and just with everything going on in the country right now, and so he's pulling for his cousin who has reefer trucks, and so that's what he's doing right now, just going back and forth from here to Texas, bringing Boris and other food products back to California.
So you're based in California?
Yes.
Okay. And he has a flatbed, but he's dealing with reefers right now. So
yeah.
So right now at this point, you want to focus on mainly trying to keep him running with dispatching, and then eventually bring on other carriers.
Yes, and I had a question about that. Just with dispatching, because my understanding is that to run legally as an independent dispatcher. Because one of the questions I want to pose to you is that there's, I guess, a gray area for dispatchers to only run for one carrier, and there's kind of a gray area around that. So I don't know if you can. What's your take on all of that? Is it something that I can legally run for more than one carrier, or do have more than one carrier that I'm dispatching for?
Correct. And what I normally try to do is if I'm going to get I usually try to target trucking companies that has one operating authority but has several trucks.
Yes.
So that would be your goal, is to kind of target those. But if you can get a contract with more, let's say you got 3 carriers, and each of them have more than one truck, and you get a dispatch agreement for each of those carriers.
Yes.
To dispatch for it, and you can do that. Now there is a gray area that hasn't been clearly or hasn't been cleared up or hasn't been regulated more so than the other areas, according to the FMCSA and the guidelines. But that's been going on for a long time. A lot of people ask those questions, and it's just that gray area hasn't been addressed because there are so many. If it would have been addressed, there's so many dispatching companies out here now, independent dispatching companies, that if we were to apply that gray area topic, wouldn't be in business. But they're up and running with successful dispatching companies, paying taxes and everything. So apparently this is not really that much of a problem to whoever the regulators are.
Yeah.
But if you are not comfortable with just dispatching, like, let's say 10 separate individual carriers, then maybe you would consider dispatching trucking companies with like 5 to 10 trucks, and then you can dispatch all of those trucks, those different carriers with those trucks under the umbrella of that one authority for that trucking company.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You see?
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking, because if you're doing, dedicating yourself to one carrier with 4 or 5 trucks, that keeps you pretty busy, from what I'm understanding. But
correct.
I would want to grow my business, but I'm getting my feet wet here.
So as far as your boyfriend's company is concerned, is he has his own authority?
Yes.
Right. So he would be. I'm not sure if he's willing to lease his authority out to other owner-operators who don't have their authority, and they can just come up under his umbrella, and then you can just continually dispatch those trucks, particularly if they are of the same equipment type as your boyfriend's.
Yes. Yeah, he has a lot of family and friends within the industry, and so they all will use me, but they each independent and have their own authority, not working under anyone else. So I just but I also know that like you said before, there's companies that have been doing this for many years and grown successful dispatching empires. And so I just wanted to make sure, I'm not stepping into too much of a gray area that's going to bite me down the road. I want to see and make sure. But I think even just with the one, like even his cousin, he has, I want to say he has 5 trucks. He made it 4 or 5 trucks. I want to say it's 5. So and he uses dispatchers. So he's familiar, and he's willing to use me too. He wants to, see what I can do with this. So even if I just worked for him right now, I know that will keep me busy because he's pretty successful. He's based out of Missouri and runs all over the place. So
so what equipment type does he haul? What trailer?
It's all reefers.
Okay, all reefers. Okay, so he's in the Midwest. He's in a Midwestern state, and he hauls reefers. So yeah, even with this situation going on with the COVID-19 situation, eventually there's going to be a need for products to get to different locations so they can service the different people in the neighborhoods. So the truckers are still going to be needed. The trucking industry is kind of the backbone of the industry. So, but I would, and if I were you too, I would target, since you're dealing with reefers, then you would probably want to get an idea of what states and what freight that's moving on the reefers and what the cents per mile is, so you can kind of understand and try to set up relationships with brokers in those areas. So those are the strategies that we can show you as well, because you're based in California, so you're coming out of California with reefer loads. It is the produce season, so you can move freight out of there. And I'm not sure about getting back into California with good loads, and that's another thing too. That's a strategy too that you have to consider, going out and coming in to see what's paying, and you'll know where to send your trucks. You don't want to send a truck to an area that's going to be difficult getting them back to the money freight. So these are little strategies there, but start off small. Start with your module 1, because you already got a carrier, so module 1 is dealing with carrier acquisition. So you can, I guess, practice, or I can actually be the real thing with your boyfriend and practice understanding. You understand the equipment type that he has, the trailer, which is the reefer trailer. So you understand that with reefer loads. Well, I'm not sure. I keep saying you understand. I'm not sure if you understand if, like with the reefer loads, there may be more than one pickups. There may be more than one deliveries, picks and drops.
Yes. So he's experienced quite a bit of that. Even with the flatbed, he experienced that because they do construction, and sometimes they'll pick up one load, like at a customs place, and they have 2 drops for a construction zone. So I think it's something that's kind of different equipment will experience the different drops, but definitely with reefer, he's experienced more of that.
Right, and the purpose of this platform is we give you, the beginner level basics, tools, and resources, and then if you have any other like questions along the way, I'm experienced enough to answer those questions as well. But just starting off for beginner dispatchers can provide you with an understanding, like dealing with. Have you ever? I'm assuming this is your first time dispatching, so you haven't booked a load, you haven't talked to a broker, you haven't done it.
No, I actually, one of his friends, he talked to me a while back about doing this because he wanted me to, what I now understand is sub-dispatching. He wanted me to come into the office and help him out and, work, basically, work his trucks and obviously find, my boyfriend find Eric loads as well. But I wasn't interested in doing it. I was doing my own thing, and I didn't want to leave my home to work. And so I've always found ways to work from home or be very independent that way. And so I wasn't really interested. But just really with everything that's happening, I'm realizing I need to diversify myself, and this is a very good way to do it. And
right. So in a nutshell, give me a synopsis of your level of understanding of what a dispatcher should be doing, what it is a dispatcher does.
My understanding of it at this point is really working with the carrier more than anyone else, and helping to keep that carrier moving. And so that's really being that liaison between the carrier and the broker, or the carrier and the shipper, and finding that carrier loads. Correct. But your dedication, other than your own business, is really to keep that carrier moving. And
so now you have that's the high level overview. Now the how in each of those
correct.
Scenarios is where you want to get the detailed steps of So I'm gonna go. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So carrier acquisition, you've already got the first part. Do you have any experience, or are you familiar with what a load board is?
Yes, I've when I went into our friend's office, while he works from home too with his dispatching, he uses TruckStop, and so I'm familiar with that. I'm not familiar with it actually. You were showing me how he looks for loads, but as far as the detailed breakdown, like what I'm interested in is more looking at the load boards in more detail to see how to look at the history of that carrier, and looking more at the data so that I can make good choices when I choose these people, and also looking at the loads and figuring out the rates, and looking at the graph for the whole country, like I've seen on some of your videos, to see where the hot spots are for the ratio of truck to load ratios. So those are the things I just want to fine tune how to navigate the board, and so that I can maximize what I can do for the carrier.
Right. So if you can see my screen now, I'm logging into Internet TruckStop, and so we can see that there. Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. And so your boyfriend has a refrigerated trailer.
Yes.
And you're in California. What city are you based in California, or major city are you close to?
I'm in Turlock, California.
Turlock?
Yes.
Okay. And equipment type is reefer. And I'm just gonna leave the destination blank so we can kind of get an overview of what we see with with what's available. So what came up is 191 total loads coming out of Turlock, California, within 100-mile radius of Turlock, or Deadhead radius, right? So yeah. With Internet TruckStop, when I usually get this result set, the next thing I do is I put the loads in order of highest paying to lowest paying that's showing in the rate column. So I'll click the rate and sort it highest to lowest. The next thing I do with Internet TruckStop is I see it's 191. Right here is only grouped by 10, so I'm going to change this to, like, let's say 100. Let's say 200. I can see.
Oh, yeah, then you can get them all, yeah.
Yeah, so that way I can scroll a little bit more.
Okay.
So let's see. You got an echo here. All right. Let's see.
Yeah, he's currently delivering up in Roseville, which is just north of Sacramento.
Okay.
Good evening and welcome to Politics Nation. Tonight's lead, full crisis mode. The news of the last 24 hours reinforces the severe state of affairs that the nation is facing. The United States now has the most.
All right, I muted everyone, and then I can unmute Tharwa. So can you hear me now?
Yes.
There we go.
Yes, I can.
All right. So now we're looking at this load list here from Internet Truck. And it's going to a place that you're willing, or that your driver is willing to go. So those are some of the things that would need to be considered. Like, this is a good run right here, 2,800. It's a 53-foot trailer, reefer trailer, 40,000 pounds is only hauling. Trailers can put about 45,000 on it, so that's 5,000 pounds less, so you're not burning as much fuel. And then it's going 862. So to figure out that cents per mile, do you know how to figure out the cents per mile?
Take the amount, the total amount, and divide it by the amount of miles.
Okay, so in this example here, this 28 and 862
yes.
would be $3.25 a mile. Now, yes. I didn't factor in the deadhead miles, the distance to get to from Turlock to get to Stockton, California is only 41 miles. So I'm not going to count the deadhead in that mile equation.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of small.
Yeah.
But, so if you got a driver with a reefer, it picks up tomorrow on the 30th from Stockton, California, which is 41 miles from your home base in Turlock, and it's going to Mount Vernon, Washington State. So now the question becomes, will you be able to find him something coming out of Washington? I know they got apples up there and some other produce types.
Yeah.
So if he wants to go in that direction, maybe your carrier saying, I don't want to go north, I want to go south. You know, I want to go like to the Arizonas, to the New Mexicos, to Nevadas and things like that. So if you have a carrier who wants to go in a specific direction, then you can filter your search criteria for loads based off of where they want to go.
Correct.
Right? So, but this is just an overview, an overall experience right here where everything is up. So going to Jersey from Sacramento, Pennsylvania. So we have another resource here. Let me refer to this one here. It's called Trend Lines. And I'm going to put a link to that in the chat here. Okay, so there we go. So Trend Lines should be up in there. So now, what Trend Lines does is it shows in real time for the three major equipment types: drive-in, flatbed, and reefers. We're dealing with reefers right now, so it'll show the rates, the national rates for that particular equipment type, and it will show the load to truck ratio for that equipment type.
Correct.
So for each one, it shows two different categories for each equipment type. So for a reefer, we're going to look at and it's color coordinated. So So right there, so for reefer, we got, these are the cents per miles in the regions or the areas of the country. So in your area, it's averaging 210. The highest areas in the Midwest. So if I'm coming out of your area, I may want to send the carrier out to one of these states out here, so I can kind of guarantee a good paying load coming back or going in another direction.
Yeah.
So that could be a strategy that, you know, dispatchers, you know, you could begin to use as well. So if we bounce back to our load board and we consider sending them to a state that was in that region that's paying the 251 at least for consideration to get back to California, or maybe run them in these because you can run in these regions pretty decently for a decent pay back and forth between these states as well. Yeah. So that's something to consider as a dispatcher for your carrier, for your boyfriend's reefer trailer, until the flatbed market picks back up, because he has a flatbed trailer. He's just using the reefer one right now.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So, well, let's change this criteria to flatbed. So you guys are based in. So I'm going to minimize this because you were saying that there's nothing really going on for flatbed. I'm going to go to new search and Turlock, California. We're going to keep it within 100 mile. Now he just has a standard flatbed. It's not a step deck or anything like that. It's just a
standard flatbed. Once in a while he would, if there's a certain load and a friend's trailer is available, he has a step deck. Then they would switch out. And I never understood the difference, but again, watching your videos, I understood the difference as to why the flat deck or the step deck, you know, if they're taking loads that for height requirements and so on, the step deck will suffice.
Okay. Yeah, the step decks they usually they put like lumber and pipes on there, and they have what's called risers to kind of level up the freight that's being hauled and things like that. So so I'm going to hit search here. I'm going to leave the open date, and let's see how many. So I got 175 flatbed loads popping up, coming out of Turlock.
Yeah.
And let me put it in order of rate. So with a flatbed, what is he expecting cents per mile? Did he give you an idea, like $2 a mile, $2.50?
Yeah, what they were running before, you know, because he tries to at least stay above $2, and they were just getting horrible loads, just price-wise. And that's when he stepped into, before all of this, he stepped into his cousin's reefer.
Right. Well, I'm looking at on the trend lines, DAT trend lines, flatbed rates $1.86 coming out of California in that area.
And
but again,
he was running mainly in California, just, you know, not being away from home, just doing local runs, maybe down to LA and back up. But so I see there why, you know, they were struggling to get above $2.
Well, let's change this criteria. So just in the state, let me look just in the state of California coming out of Turlock and see what we have going on here. Let's choose just the state of California. That 175 is going to get smaller. It's only 20 loads. So
I'm looking at the cities.
So yeah, Sacramento, which is 84-mile deadhead, going to Portola, California, 160 miles, 48. Now, does he have a 48-foot or a 53-foot flatbed?
I want to say 48.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
So they're 48,000 pounds is the max. So 160 miles for, well, let's add the 84-mile deadhead on that too. So 84 plus the distance that is going, the loaded miles, 160, is 244. So that's under $2 a mile if you add the deadhead.
Yeah.
Because it's only paying $4.25 going 244. So it's $1.74. So This one here is going from 60 miles from where you are at Turlock. It's going to Ione, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, California,
Yes.
which is 60 miles, and it's going to Sacramento. It's paying $300 at only a 62-mile run. So even if you added, well, if you added the
deadhead miles.
Yeah, Mike says Cali's has cheap freight rates. If you add the deadhead miles, 60 and 162 is 122, and then from 122 over the price, now that's $245 a mile.
Yeah.
So that's over $2 a mile. It's a short run. Now he'll have to drive to pick it up 60 miles, and it picks up on the 2nd, which is Wednesday, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's a consideration. But if he wants to just stay in California. Now, what other states do you know that he runs in?
Well, when he did the flatbed, he basically went up and down the western coast. He would go through Oregon and then back again. He didn't like really going very far. So this is very different for him, going to Texas and going to Missouri and back. I used to do it when he started trucking, but you worked for Knight Refrigeration and they went all over the place. But since he has his own, he's just been local.
Okay, so but now he has the refrigerated trailer, so we're going to focus on Lowe's because he's not switching back yet until he feels until he feels that the rates are going to pick up. Unless he would have to almost leave California to get to do a cheap run out of California to an area where there's higher paying freight for that flatbed equipment type.
Yeah. And the only reason he was traveling back and forth to California is just to get home, but half the time, he hasn't been home in 3 weeks. So I'm thinking you might as well just stay in the better running states and then, come home and take a decent break, after that, instead of running back to California and then he's here for literally a few hours and then you'll get another load out of California. He actually takes loads out of Napa.
Right.
And back to Texas. But he can get better paying loads if he goes like down south from, just looking at that map you just showed me.
Yeah. So for a reefer, since he's gonna drive the reefer for a while until he feels the flatbed rates come up, then the reefer rates are, so he can get out of California on average at 210 and then come over to the Midwest states, go down to Texas. Yeah. He probably could do like a triangular kind of thing.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the reefer loads here. And it also depends on how far he wants to drive as well. Like,
yeah, right now he's open. If it's a good paying load, he'll do it. He's open to going to any state.
Okay. Well, there's a few strategies right there. Right now he's coupled. He's connected to a reefer trailer. So, where is he now? Is he at home now?
No, he's coming home. He's delivering in Roseville as we speak, and then he's got a load coming out of Napa to go back to Texas, but he's just confirming. He's hoping to be able to pick it up today, and so head back, or because he's delivering, he's probably done. He was just waiting. He was still docked. I called him right before logging on to this, and they were just getting the check for to pay the lumber. And,
okay, yeah.
And so he was, and then he was waiting to find out if he was able to just head up to Napa now and pick up that load, or if it's tomorrow morning. He's dying to come home, so he's thinking if he has to pick it up tomorrow, he just wants to come home, drive down here an hour and a half to get to Turlock, and just at least spend the day at home and leave.
So how How far are you from Wilmington, California? Someone just asked that question.
Oh, let's see.
I'm looking it up myself. Wilmington, California to Turlock.
I'm not familiar with Wilmington.
Yeah, 4.5 hours, 300. So Wilmington is by San Diego. You guys are by San Jose and Sacramento and San Francisco.
Correct. Yes.
So Wilmington is south of you. So.
Yeah, I was wondering why I never heard of Wilmington. It's because it's so far from me.
It's so far from you, right? It's south of you. So, because in our network, we have other people who may have access to good brokers and good paying loads, and if they see that you are in an area, if they see and discover that you're in an area close to where they have those good, they'll just, like in the chat, you'll ask about it, and someone will pop in and say, yeah, I know a broker over here that got some good loads. You might want to give them a call.
Yeah.
So he's going to be empty in Texas.
Excuse me?
He's going to be empty in Texas.
You'll be empty in Texas. Yes. Usually.
Tomorrow.
No, he's emptying in Roseville right now. That's just north of Sacramento. Then he's going over to Napa to pick up. So which means if he picks up even tomorrow, Napa delivery is I want to say it's usually on Thursday. By Thursday, he needs to deliver that load.
Okay, and that load is going to be delivered Thursday in what city in Texas?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what city he goes to. So that's something I would find out if I'm going to run a load for him, and then try and get something either that picks up later Thursday or Friday.
Right, and that's how you would stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
You would to ask the dispatcher, you're going to be the middle person between the broker and your carrier. So you'll do all the carrier package. You'll see the rate confirmations, and then you'll just send a copy to your driver so they'll know where the load is picking up, where it's delivering to. But you'll also have your copy so you can see where that driver will be empty at, and then you can prepare that next load.
Yeah.
So. Let's see. Someone asked also Los Banos. Let's see. How far are you from Los Banos?
Oh, Los Banos is just a little south of here.
Okay. So Robert, she's closer to Los Banos than she is Wilmington. So Robert is on the train. And he's typing in the chat. I don't know if you can see the chat when we're typing in there too. Yeah, in the online, the free conference call, if you click the chat, we can see everybody's typing and making comments and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yep. So you can add your comments in there as well. So you're closer to Los Banos than you are Wilmington. So maybe Robert may see some. He may know some because Robert drives all over, so he may know different areas and different brokers to deal with that has freight coming out of different areas. So. Okay. Mike says he's been trying to get some flatbed carriers because their rates seem the best. Well, if we do our comparison, the flatbeds to the reefers, we got reefers. The Midwest states for the reefer seems to be the highest. Let's see what the states or region for the flatbeds seem to be. 242. So right now, and see this fluctuates. Like last week, flatbeds was higher, so the rates for the flatbeds in the same area is a little bit, it's like, 9 cents less than they are for the reefer. Of course, the dry vans are the cheapest of the three. They're okay, but they're cheaper, so see that. So, but if you have a reefer, you could just turn off your TCU, your control unit, your cooling unit, and use it as a dry van.
Dry van, yes.
So you got it. So the advantage of having a reefer is you got double the chances of getting a load.
Yeah.
So.
That's true. I never thought of that.
So yeah. So as far as you and your boyfriend, as long as he has that reefer trailer, maybe he can get a reefer load going out and then a dry van load as a backhaul coming back. If he can't find a reefer load coming back, that could be a strategy. You see?
More options.
Yeah, you have more options with the reefer. You can use it's a kind of a 2-in-1 thing, kind of like a Swiss Army knife of trucks. So, but everyone, welcome. Am I pronouncing this correct, Tharwa?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, everyone, welcome Tharwa. She just enrolled into the platform. Yesterday.
Yeah.
So, and she has kind of a head start because her boyfriend is a carrier, so she's learning the basics and she knows a little bit. So, Robert asks, how long has your boyfriend's authority been active, Tharwa?
Since 2018.
Okay, so he's good as far as the active authority. That's over 2 years, over a year. So because the reason why Robert's asked because certain brokers won't deal with carriers whose authority is less than 6 months or a year old, but we have brokers who deal with day one carriers. As far as day one meaning the day you get your authority becomes active. So, but he's past that hurdle because his authority is a year and a half, almost 2 years. So.
Yeah, October will be 2 years.
Okay, so yeah, he's good. So it's at least, what is this, March, April, May, June, July, August. So yeah, almost 18 months. So he's good on that front. So we just gotta, Robert said something better. He's thinking of a direct shipper. So now we're transcending now. So Robert, he may know of a direct shipper. In Los Banos, Robert, the direct shipper that you're referring to? Because that would be ideal. So if he knows a direct shipper in that area, and then also too, Tharwa, you can look for direct shipper loads or coming out of the area. What direct shippers are in that? Because every major city has like industrial parks. You can look for those direct shippers in your area. Robert says yes, he's thinking of a direct shipper. Yes, 25 loads per year. That's kind of small.
Is it seasonal?
I don't know. It might be seasonal. Or he might have meant to say 2,500 loads, 25,000 loads, or 25 loads per month. I'm not sure if that's a typo or not. Let me see if I can get Robert. Robert, can you unmute yourself? Well, I can unmute you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
There you go. Hey.
Oh, hey. Yeah, so I was just thinking of a direct shipper that needs loads that come out from Los Banos to their facility. I'm looking at a list right now, matter of fact, how many loads come out of that area. How many loads come out of that area that they need? Of course, they've got thousands of other loads, 200 loads coming out of this per year or 70 loads per year, this particular shipper has like 25 loads per year that comes out of that area, that comes to the Midwest. I mean, it's like what maybe 2 a month, maybe? I don't know, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So her equipment type is reefer. So that those loads you're referring to are the reefer loads.
Going back that way, that first one was Williamson, California. That's a reefer load going back that way, and that is 25 loads. 25 loads going back that way. But coming out from Los Banos would probably be some dry freight, whatever mixture it may be.
Okay. And 25 loads, so is that seasonal? Because 25 loads a year seems kind of small, though, right?
Well, I guess the product that comes out, they probably need maybe like 2 loads a month. Kind of, something like that.
Okay.
You know?
Gotcha.
Right, for their product. So if they get a load, you know, a truckload full of whatever the product is coming out, you know, by the next 2 weeks, they're reordering it. So, you know.
Yeah. Oh, well, that could be something to consider too. Tharwa, she's a new enrolled student, and she's on the chat group. You guys can connect and then go from there and see if you can if that's a possibility.
Sounds good to me.
That way, you know, it's all about the networking. Robert's pretty good at that. So
I'm trying to type in the type and say hello to everyone.
I saw it. I saw one. You did.
It went. Because I didn't see it on my end.
Yeah, if you scroll. Yeah, if you guys scroll down, because I saw it says hello. You said hello everyone at 11:37.
Oh yes, okay, it did go through. I thought the scroll would happen automatically, but I actually need to move my mouse, and it says.
yeah. So again, you're kind of at you're a little bit more at an advantage than someone who who's enrolled or who's a dispatcher who don't quite have a carrier yet. Since your boyfriend's already carrier, so now you're focusing on getting the strategy of being on the load boards, getting a load, or even with Robert with the direct shipper, where you can actually bypass the load board and not even deal with the brokers and deal directly with the shipper instead of eliminate the middleman, so to speak.
Correct.
So just navigating that, and so now the direct shipper. Now, when you're dealing with direct shippers, now you're asking certain requirements. That's probably one of the reasons why Robert asked initially, how long did you have the authority? So,
well, these are also for his cousin. His cousins had his authority, I want to say, for 15 plus years.
Oh, well, that's even better. Now, does his cousin have more than one reefer trailer, or is it just one trailer?
He has at least 4 trucks, 4 reefers.
Okay, so now that looks even more attractive. So maybe you should connect with Robert on the chat afterwards. But that looks even more attractive to the shipper, because now you got not only one asset, but now you have 4. You can tell this shipper, I can get 4 trucks to the location where you need that freight picked up and brought to you. So now, what are the numbers? What are we talking now? Are we going to have a contract, or what do I need to do to get set up with you guys?
Yeah.
And then they're going to, if all goes well, they're going to send what's called a load tender. Instead of a rate confirmation, they're going to send a load tender, what they send to the brokers. So, because they're dealing directly with carriers. So then, and also, even before that, another question would be, I'm assuming that Robert already knows this, but they deal directly with the carriers as well as brokers, right? Right, Robert? Or do they?
Yes, they deal with carriers and brokers.
Okay, so yeah, I figured as much, because Robert wouldn't even put that, that shipper out, like saying, okay, so yeah, they deal directly with the, so if we can cut out the middleman in that sense, if we can get those 4 reefer trailers under that shipper, saying we'll drive to that location in Los Banos, pick up, or wherever that is at, and then bring it to your location in Los Banos, or however that scenario plays out. But it looks more attractive to have more assets than just one, because you're getting more of that freight to that shipper and solving their problem. So
that route from Los Banos to the shipper is 1,700 miles.
Oh, 1,700 miles?
Yep.
Is it a one-on-one, or is it more?
No, yes, just one-on-one, pick up and deliver.
1,700 miles. You figure, geez, they're gonna pay, man. So where is the shipper is in California, or the shipper is somewhere else?
No, the pickup is in California, but the shipper is in the Midwest.
Okay, so they pick it up in California and bring it over to the Mid. So that sounds like that's about let's see, if I double 1,700 miles, that's at least 3,500, maybe 4,000, 4,500. So the more, maybe even higher. So it depends on it depends on Farwah's negotiating skills with the shipper.
That's where I get nervous.
So how would you think to approach it? Just from a raw thought process. If you got 4 reefer trailers and you got a shipper in the Midwest that needs freight shipped to their location in the Midwest from Los Banos, California, and that's a 1,700-mile line haul, how would you start that conversation, in your opinion?
Oh man, brain freeze because you're putting me on the spot, Charles.
Well, I'll reword it there. I'll do it like this. You are the problem solver. They have a problem. They need something brought from California to the Midwest. Your job as a dispatcher or a trucking company, dispatching for the trucking company or within that trucking company, is to solve their problem. So this will be an approach that you would go to the shipper under. I got 4 trucks right now. I got 4 reefer trailers right now within a 60-mile radius of your pickup location in Los Banos. I can have that freight to you within, let's see, 1,700 miles. I would say 2.5 days, 3 days tops. And this is my rate. So now you're direct with them. You're presenting that to them. You're already available. I got 4 empty trailers near Los Banos within 60 miles. I can have that freight picked up today, let's say tomorrow, Monday, and I can have it to you by Thursday. And this is the rate per truck. Let's say, I don't know, $4,500 per truck.
Okay.
Because now you got to consider with a reefer, are they running that? What's the continuous temperature that they're running it under? Because it costs. You got to factor in fuel. You got your TCU. You got to keep that running continuous. Depends on what the commodity is, how cool, like 0 degrees, 34 degrees, -5, whatever that temperature has to stay continuous while that load is being transported from pickup to destination. So all that stuff has to be factored in when you present a number to the shipper. And the shipper knows this. They deal with, if they get this type of commodity in all the time, they deal with reefer carriers all the time or brokers all the time. They know their numbers. They want to see if you know their numbers.
Yeah.
So, right?
And that's what I'm where I'm lost as far as, I just need to really study that area as far as the load rates and what it takes to run that particular truck so that my carriers are getting a decent rate.
Right. Well, here's one way. When Robert just told me that run is about 1,700 miles, and then we look at our trend lines for rates for the reefers,
mm-hmm.
On average in the Midwest, it's about 251. So here's a baseline for us. Here's a starting baseline. And then we could add to it if it was like more than one pick, more than one drop. But Robert said it's a 1 and 1. So it's going to somewhere in the Midwest. So here's our baseline average, $2.51. Yeah. So if we go to our calculator, we say, okay, it's driving 1,700 miles.
Times like 250 at least. Correct.
At least.
Just in case it is an extra stop, I got an abstract beside it, and it says it may contain extra pickups. But
so now then we can either bump this up to $3 a mile because we don't know how many extra pickups it is, or we can wait and see, leave that our baseline number, and just give the shipper a baseline number, and then if they say, but see, let them know that this is a baseline rate contingent upon how many other stops is going to be, and then you further negotiate from that point. Because if it's like, let's say it's 1 pick, 3 stops. Each stop you want to add an extra amount because you're waiting there a while. There's detention pay, there's lumpers, you got to give T-checks and all this other crap. So all that plays into factors in. So there's some unknown variables in this particular situation. Like we don't know if it's going to be just a 1-in-1 or if it's going to be a 1-in-3 or a 2-in-4 or whatever the case may be. Because the shipper may have not just one facility in the Midwest. They may have something in the northern part that you drop there first before you come to their main hub and things like that. So we can bump this up to $3.
Now, coming, sorry, Charles, this is coming out of California. So wouldn't we go off of the 210?
No.
Because you want to end up in their locations. The 210 is coming out of California. I understand that, but your shipper is. I want to base it off of where the shipper is located.
Okay.
Now, if I base it off of where it's coming out of, the shipper is not out of California. The shipper is out of the Midwest. I don't know what state Robert said, but it's the Midwest.
Okay.
So yeah. But even if you were, let's do the worst case scenario. Let's say 210, which would be terrible for a reefer coming out of California, right? 1,700 miles. I'm going to stick with the 250.
Yeah. Because you're now including the extra stops and everything too.
Right, because we have unknown variables in that situation, right? So that's 250 would be 42.50, which is
Yeah.
And that's assuming that's just a 1-in-1 and going from Los Banos straight to that Midwestern location. But if it's a 1-in-2 or 2-in-3 or whatever the other scenario is, now you have to add so much dollar amount per stop, like $200 or $300 per stop, detention pay, and all of that will show up on the rate confirmation, and it should be in the carrier packet when you're filling it out for that.
Yeah, because how would you calculate the extra stops? Do you then do the mileage, say from Los Banos to that first stop, and then that first stop to the next? Do you calculate the miles in between per stop, or do you just have an average of X amount of dollars that you would add?
It's a combination of both. You're on the right track. It's a combination of both. Between the stop miles is one, and then because when you get to those locations, you don't know how long you're going to be sitting there. Some distribution centers or some loading docks take longer to offload than others. So you may have detention pay after, let's say, an hour or after 2 hours, and then it kicks in maybe anywhere between $50 to $150 an hour afterwards. So these can add up. You never know. At a location you're being offloaded, maybe one of the warehouse forklift breaks down. They got another forklift, got to work on another forklift getting to you to get you offloaded. That could be another 3 hours. But you're sitting there, you're getting paid for that. So there's so many unknown scenarios and variables in that. That's why you have to come up with a fair assessment of how you're going to charge like detention and layover. Not layover because you're not staying overnight, but detention and lumpers and things like that. But the baseline starting point for the shipper to even get into the door, that's where you got to get past that first point first, and then all the other accessorial pay scenarios will come later on. And the shipper will pay for that because once you're under their load, they're going to give you what you need to get that load to them. Once you're officially under that load, right? So now with the broker, it could be a different situation. They like to kind of do shady things, but the shipper is their freight. So, but we got to get we know the mileage, 1,700, our baseline starting pay, what's the average cents per mile, rate per mile for a reefer trailer going to or inside of the state where that shipper is located. In our case, it's $251. In this example, I should say, is $251. So, and then we'll $251. So that could be so we can say 40, let's say 4,500. Let's bump it up a little bit. So, and then you still have to consider pre-cooling the freight to a certain temperature, continuous and things like that. So 4,500 seems fair because it's still under $3. Now, if you'd have said $3, that's what is that? $5,100. So that's decent.
Yeah.
But 4,500 is kind of like that's in an area that's like okay, it's okay, that's fair. So now how would that get presented? You know, back to the example, how we're going to get in with the shipper. Let them know I got 4 trailers, reefer trailers, ready to go within 60 miles of your Los Angeles location. I understand that you need freight moved over to the Midwest. I can get that to you. When do you need it? How soon do you need it? So you're the problem solver. How soon do you need it? Well, we need it by next week Friday. I can get it to you Thursday. $4,500 per truck. Okay. Send me your information. You see, you got to be I don't want to say assertive, but you got to be direct. You got to let them know that you know what you're talking about. Let them know that you understand what they need. You understand the race. You understand the lanes, and that you can get it to them a day before that they require it. So, if I'm a shipper, I may consider giving you a chance because you presented it like that.
Correct.
Let's also add in flat rate or fuel surcharge.
Exactly. So, let's go to. I don't know what city because I was going to use. I was going to use Ascend because they have a good fuel surcharge percentage or cents in there, like 28 to 35 cents a mile. So you do have to add in fuel surcharge to help cover the cost of the carrier's fuel. That's what the fuel surcharge, the purpose of that is, to help cover that cost. So that's on top of what they're paying. Sometimes the fuel surcharge is included in the rate. Sometimes it's on top of it.
Now, will that show that if the fuel surcharge is included in what they're presenting in the rate?
It normally does, or it normally should, but if it does not, that's something that you as a dispatcher need to ask them, because that also shows them that you have an understanding of, an overall understanding of your business and how they should be paying you. So.
And the fuel surcharges, does that differ state to state? Be just like the fuel cost, or how does that work?
It's different state to state, and it varies per the commodity and per the freight that's being hauled. Let me open up Ascend because I'm trying to see what. I don't know what location Robert is going to in the Midwest.
So this is something, because I would then get together with Eric's cousin, who was the owner of
okay.
The owner of that company, and so I would check with him too to see what the average is that he's been paying, just so that I have an idea.
Right, and you have a baseline, correct?
Okay.
Yeah, you have a baseline. So what state was that going to, Robert? You don't have to give me the city, but I just want to put some kind of indicator in here so I can look at a fuel surcharge going in that area.
Go to Rogers. Rogers, Arkansas.
Okay. All right, let me get the rates. So with Ascend, so the fuel surcharge is anywhere for this lane. The fuel surcharge is 39 cents a mile.
Okay.
And in this case, it's added into the total rate, which is the line haul is $1.73. The fuel surcharge is 39. So if you add those two together, the low end will be, what is that? Well, the mid range will be
212.
212, correct, which is cheap.
Yeah.
So but if you go back to that 210, so now it's basing it coming out of California. So we go back over here. So here's the all-in rate. So you got the all-in rate, you have the line haul rate, and you have the fuel surcharge. So the fuel surcharge and the line haul are added together to give you the all-in rate. In this case, the low end is $29.27, and the high end is $49, or about $5,000. So now you have an idea of what to ask for. The mid range is like $3,600. So I would ask for like 40. So I would ask somewhere between the median and the high.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Correct.
So about 40. 42, 44, Robert said 42. 42 seems to be fair. So 42. So if you're asking for 42 and it's going 1,700 miles. Let's see, 4,200. $2.47. That's not bad.
Yeah.
247 a mile. And with the Ascend, it's showing, so it's 1,732 miles. So we round it down, but that's the exact.
But that's going correctly. That's not including any extra stops and stuff.
Right. Yeah, we are assuming that it's a 1-to-1. That is correct. If it was more, then it would give us room to negotiate this rate a little bit closer to the high.
Yeah.
You see.
Yeah, I'm still confused about one thing, Robert. Charles, the rate you mentioned doing the 251 because the shipper is based out of the Midwest, but don't we calculate the rate where the load is being picked up?
Generally, you do, but I just calculated the higher rate because I know on average today reefer loads are averaging between 225 and 260 a mile. So I just took the higher number on this overall chart. But yes, you will take the rate coming out of the location where it's picking up at.
Okay.
And then here's the fuel, the line haul and the fuel surcharge.
Okay.
So.
And the calculator that you're using for the rate, where's that? Ascend. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't put my Ascend into the platform. I need to. This is a basic plan. Anyone can sign up for an Ascend account, a free basic account. You just need a DOT and an MC, and you have one with your boyfriend. And then you can always upgrade to the premium plan, which is like $49 a month, and it has more features. Ascend is mainly it's like a CRM, a customer relationship management, and a CMS, content management. So it's like mostly brokers use, because this is a transportation management software. Most of the time, it's not really for dispatchers, but brokers use it. But you can tweak it. If you go into the settings, you can tweak the areas and the fields to change it to cater to your dispatching business. This is what I did. I got my logos up here and everything. So.
And is there any other area other than having an Ascend account where I can calculate this to this detail with, like you just did with the three variables to get?
Well, some of the load boards have the all-in rate, the line haul, and the fuel surcharge on them. So if let's go into one of these loads just to say we got a load, right? Let's open up one of these loads and see if so on this one here, let's see. This one may not have. I think 1, 2, 3 may have it more so. And look at this one. This is a 1 pick 5 drop. So this 2,800 is going to go up to, let's see. I usually add about at least bare minimum $200 per extra drop, right? So 200 times 5, that's another 1,000. So I may jump up to 4. So this may turn into a $4,000 load. You know?
Yeah, correct.
So, but let me get out of Internet Truck Stop and go to 1, 2, 3 load board and see if.
How many load boards do you have? In the program that you have for the monthly membership?
I got Internet Truck Stop, 1, 2, 3 load board, DAT Trucker's Edge, Next Load, Trucker's Path, at least 5.
Okay.
Robert says Ascend is $69 for the premium. Okay, so man, it went up. Okay, so let's we log out
Every year they go up $10.
every year.
That's what's been going on with me, Doc. I came in at 49, 59, and 69. Well, I'm not gonna say every year, but there is a trend there that it does go up. Like I said, I came in at 49, and that was years ago, and now today they sending me a invoice for $69.
Wow. So let's look at 1, 2, 3 and see if there is we have rate checks and mileage calculators, and I haven't even tweaked all this stuff like I need to. But let's look at that load, or let's look at a load. Los Banos for a reefer going to Rogers. And see. All right, so I got Los Banos going out, and I'm going to put it in order, offer. So we got these loads here. And I'm just going to look at one load just to get an idea if there is a rate. Open up one. So now it calculates with 1, 2, 3 load board Tharwa.
Yes.
You open it up. When you open up a specific load, it has these series of tabs and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? It has a load, pay rate, the mileage, and the calculator. Rate check. Right here it has fuel surcharge. Now remember I said sometimes the fuel surcharge is included in the rate?
Yes.
This is an example of that. So that fuel surcharge is included in that $3,000 rate for this one. If it wasn't, it would say what it was here. Okay? And it even calculates the fuel cost for you, assuming that fuel is, you get 5 miles to the gallon for a tractor trailer. I thought it was 6 miles to the gallon, but apparently it's 5. So now, do you know how to calculate? Now, this is not. I don't want to say it's not important, but it's not essential. It's good to know as a dispatcher because you can help your carrier save money on the fuel. I was going to ask, do you know how to calculate how much fuel that carrier would spend on a particular load based off of where it's going and where it's picking up?
Well, it depends on the equipment, right? I mean, how if it's like the newer equipment, for instance, they get better mileage sometimes. So it depends on these equipment and what you would, just like a car, you would basically, on a tank of gas, see how much you get and then get your miles per gallon.
Right. So the average miles per gallon for a semi, a tractor trailer, let's Google that.
Okay.
It should be 6 miles to the gallon, but we'll just use our trusted friend. What is the average miles?
The carriers know their equipment and kind of know what they. So that be another quick profile to know kind of what their equipment, what they get per gallon.
It could be, but I wouldn't want to create the extra work for yourself. Your main objective is to find the loads and book those loads and invoice them for your service, but to help them find a better payment. Now, the carriers are supposed to know how much they're going to spend on fuel for each run that they do. If they do not know that, they're going to be losing money. They're just going to take any load and then burn all that money in fuel and only get so, because they got fuel, they got insurance, maintenance of the truck, you know, all types of expenses going in. So the main expense, of course, is the fuel, you know, and then the insurance of the truck. So right here it says 6.5 miles to the gallon. So if you got a load that's, let's go back to this example, it's going 1915 miles, so 1,000. So you take the total miles, the loaded miles is going, and you divide it by the miles per gallon, which is 6.5. That's going to tell you how many gallons of fuel you're going to need for that run, right?
Correct.
So it's running 1,915 miles. You get 6.5 miles to the gallon according to Google right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to equal 294.61 or 62 gallons. Now the question becomes, what's the average cost of diesel fuel today? That's another, because you're going to take that average cost and multiply it by this 294.62 gallons, and that's going to give you the cost of diesel fuel for this specific run right here. And that's how you figure that out.
Okay.
So we can say, we can open up another tab. What is the diesel, I guess, fuel costs? Or what is the average diesel fuel price?
Rule of thumb is you never buy fuel in California. Get it before you go in.
Yeah.
Right. There you go. Well, give me a national average, Robert. I can just for sake of figuring out just calculating this.
Right now prices are down, so you know, just go with $3.
Okay. So this particular example in 1, 2, 3 for this 1,915 miles, if we multiply that by $3 for a diesel, they're going to spend $883.85 on fuel.
Yeah.
For that 19. Now the load paid $3,000, but you got to deduct the 883.
Yeah.
Because that's an expense, right? So you're taking 3,883. So after you pay fuel, you're getting 2117, and you're running 1,915 miles. That doesn't seem like a good load.
Yeah.
Now, this number 157 is they're not factoring in fuel, because if you take 2117 and divided by the loaded miles, it's definitely not going to be 157. It's 110, 111. So this 1, 2, 3 load board, this revenue calculator is not factoring in the cost of fuel. They're doing it gross. This is a gross number.
Yeah.
So as a dispatcher, you kind of keep that in the back of your head, even though it's not your responsibility to keep track of the carrier's fuel. It's your carrier's responsibility because you're dispatching for them.
Yeah. But if you want to keep them above a certain amount as far as their running miles, or per mile, then you do want to factor that in somewhat so that they can have a greater net.
Right. And also, too, it shows the carrier that you have an understanding of their business. It makes you look a little bit more impressive in front of them.
Yeah.
As well. Also, too, you are going to, when you charge whatever percentage you're charging for your dispatching services, anywhere between 5 and 10%, that's coming out of a gross amount. So let's say I do 10%. So 10% of 3,000 is better than 10% of 2117.
Absolutely.
Right? So now, if I don't know, if you want to carry it this bad, you may stoop to this level. I won't say stoop, but you may say, okay, I'll charge my percentage after you cover your fuel. Now, most carriers are like, okay, deal, because they're saying they're not losing a lot of money now because they're only going to give you instead of $300, they're going to give you 10% of 2117, which is $2.11. So you lost $90.
Yeah, and that adds up.
And that adds up.
Yeah, that's.
But if you think in terms of volume, you can get more carriers that way, and you just take that small loss, but it's going to add up back over time because you got more carriers you're dispatching for, or you just keep the scenario the same and just take the 10% or the 5% or the 7% or whatever that number is out of the gross amount.
Yeah. Which
is what most dispatchers do. I don't know a dispatcher who takes their cut after the carrier pays their fuel costs.
And quick question, Charles. So when you look at the charts on the load board that gives you the state average, what the loads are going for, correct. If you look at that, this is for the most part not including the fuel surcharge, or
no. This is right. This is just the cents per mile range, a gross amount. Again, yes, it does not include the fuel surcharge.
Okay. Okay.
So
this gives me a better understanding as far as negotiating the rates then. So
right.
Just to be fair, that so you can see which shippers are, or which loads are just undercutting the and good rate, yeah.
And you can set up your dispatching business. These are strategies that you can use to kind of win over carriers or win over shippers, because now it shows them that you have an understanding of what you're doing.
Correct.
And remember, this is Dispatcher 101. This is basics, right? It doesn't seem like it, but this.
No, this is great information. Like, it's giving me more, where my confidence dwindles as far as negotiating is because I don't know all the statistics and all of the data. But with my understanding on how to calculate stuff, I would be a lot more confident going in and saying this is what I can do it for, because I know where I'm getting my numbers.
Right. So that's a good point. That's a very good point for other dispatchers who are listening. Yeah, know your numbers, right? And again, these resources are on. We have them. And we have the Facebook chat group. We have other like-minded individuals on the chat group. If you go to Dispatcher 101, I think I added you to the chat group.
Yes, I just signed up for that, I think last night.
Yeah, so you just put your question in there, and, Robert's in there a lot. I'm in there a lot. I look in there. I peep in there from time to time just to see, kind of monitor the content of the conversations, because I'm kind of the moderator of it. So I want to make sure that everything is, legitimate. And we're not talking about something that's unrelated to dispatching, right? So,
right.
But yeah, so the chat group is here, and we just put in, what we're like. You would put in, hey guys, I'm dealing with a direct shipper. I want to negotiate. I got 4 reefer trucks. This shipper needs loads picked up in Los Banos, California, going to Rogers, Arizona. That's a 1,723-mile run. What is a good negotiating rate for that shipper? And then you're going to have people like me and Robert's going to ask for more details, because you just gave us some general information. We're going to say, okay, is it a 1-and-1? How many pickups is it? How many drops is it? Certain things like that, because we need as much information so we can give you an answer, so you can give a better quote to the shipper to represent your company. You see? And that's the whole point of the dispatcher chat group. We're like a network, and we try to help one another. At least I like to think we do. So.
Sounds good.
So welcome to the family. Not the mafia family, but the dispatcher family.
I was just gonna add something silly, because now I'm logging into my Facebook. I haven't logged into my Facebook in over a year, and all my family thought I just dropped off the face of the earth.
Well, I try to use Facebook for business purposes in the chat group, because I really consider it more of an antisocial group than a social platform. It's more of an antisocial, in my opinion. But if I can get like-minded individuals on one centralized location talking about the same thing that's going to benefit everyone, then why not?
Yes.
So.
No, this is good, and I needed to touch bases. These old family members that we live apart, we different countries, and so it's good to touch bases once in a while, but I just haven't logged into my Facebook, so here I am, and they're going, hey, what happened to you?
Right, they're going to see you in there. Well, that's cool. Let them know you've been busy trying to build an empire.
Yes, I'm going to be building a Facebook page as well, with my business name, and I'm in the process. I did a doing business as right now before doing the LLC, because with the LLC comes all the taxes and all of that you have to pay within the first 4 months, and so I thought, okay, let me at least lock the name in, and I'll take care of the LLC down the road.
Okay. Good idea. Good idea. I thought Mike. Let's see, Mike said add me to. Mike, you're in there. Let me see if Mike is in there. Mike, you're in the chat group. Let me see. I think it's under. Is it Mike Mack or Doug Mack or something like that? I forget the name. Doug. Yeah, Doug Z Mack is in there. If that's you, Mike, then yeah, that you're in there. Doug Mack, you are in the chat group. So let me make sure. Let me say hello to Doug Z Mack right there. So Mike is in there. Okay, let's see. Good content today. Let's see. Let me see if anyone else had, because I want to do mainly Q&A, because I know we got a lot going on with this COVID nonsense. But let's see, Jacqueline, Allison, Miss Ruth. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay. Any other questions?
Hello, Charles.
Yes, Miss Ruth.
Hi. Yes. My question is, when we are talking to carriers and we say that we're part of a network of dispatchers or freight logistic professionals, what network should we say?
You could just say, has anyone asked you that? You can either say national. You can say National Dispatchers Network, or you could say Exodus. You can use Exodus.
Okay.
Exodus Dispatching Services, which is made up of a large network of dispatchers. I don't want to give a specific number, but you can say the Exodus Dispatching Services Network. Matter of fact, I need to coin that because that'll market and brand that. So yeah, Exodus Dispatching Services Network, and I'm going to put that into the Facebook chat group, and I'll advertise it on the website whenever, for future reference, if you're calling carriers and you are, because you want to, brand yourself and make yourself look even more impressive to the carrier. Of course, you want to mention your company first. I'm part of, I forget your company name, Thunderwolf, I believe.
Thunderwolf, yes.
Yeah, this is Thunderwolf Dispatching and Thunderwolf Logistics. We're part of the larger Exodus Dispatching Services Network. And then, so what I'll do is I'll put it in script form, and I'll put blank lines and say, put this here, put this here. That way, when you kind of talk to the carriers, you'll, this is what you kind of be like a baseline of how how to say it. So Mike says 2,000 members.
Okay.
Yeah, or you can even do half that number, 500 members, because you got 500 dispatchers all over the country. That's more than enough dispatchers to. If I can't find one load for you with 500 members, I'm in the wrong line of work.
Right.
Right?
Large and strong, Mike.
So, Exodus Dispatching Services Network. Almost like ESPN, but it's EDSN.
Right.
So have you had a carrier ask you?
Yes.
Okay. And were you satisfied with your response to him? Or did you give him a...
I just said I'm part of the Freight Logistic Professional Network. And they're like, what? Never heard of that one. I said, well, we're large and strong.
Yep. Well, I am putting together, and Robert's aware of this, I'm putting together a freight logistics consortium, which is going to be made up of shippers, brokers, dispatchers, and carriers. That's what a consortium is, a conglomerate of all facets of the transportation industry. Brokers, shippers, carriers, and dispatchers, right? So, and the goal is for all of us to be interconnected in such a way that we wouldn't need to, we can go to our shippers in the consortium or our brokers in the consortium or our carriers and dispatchers and help one another. That's the whole goal. So everyone, at some point, everyone in the consortium is going to know who the other people are. And it makes moving loads a little bit easier, you see. But at this point, we're not there yet, but that's the goal. So as I'm talking to different brokers and building relationships with them, I'm going to give them incentives to join the consortium so we can help one another. So yeah. I like to see her logo. Oh yeah, Robert wants to see your logo, Miss Ruth. I think it's the wolf one. So, but when you're talking to the carriers, you know, first thing you want to know, you want to ask them, you know, are you under load, looking for a load? How much money you need to move your truck, or whatever conversation. I hate using the word script. What conversation that you start with them, you know, based off of. And then you break the ice and then go from there. You know, well, this is Charles with Exodus Dispatching Services Network. We're a large network of over, I'll just throw a number out there. So. Mike said, stop sandbagging to make it happen. It's not as easy as it seems, Mike. It's a process. Trust me. When you're trying to build something like a consortium, you gotta have a lot of like-minded individuals who agree on the goal, the ultimate goal of the consortium. And a lot of brokers, my main pushback is coming from the broker side. The shippers don't care as long as their freight moves. They'll reach out to the consortium and say, hey, I got some loads I need moved. We can either move it through your brokers or your carriers. So, but the brokers are the ones who are trying to hold on to the money, trying to hoard and stuff like that. So we'll see. Yeah, I do have the connections, but it's about getting those connections to agree to come into the consortium. That's the whole issue. So with each particular connection, whether they are a shipper, broker, carrier, or dispatcher, we have to talk to each category in such a way to convince them to join the consortium, and our consortium can provide that service for you better than the alternative. So that's the challenge that I'm working on. So, all right. But it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. You know, we got a little friction right now as far as this COVID thing going on. So, Ms. Ruth, I answer questions?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, let me put my information here again, like I always do. Again, welcome to Tharwa. Tharwa, she's ready to go. She's ready to roll. And she has her boyfriend with the reefer and other trucks, so she can help in the network too by reaching out to the other members and helping them in the areas that they're stuck in as well. So I'm going to type the comment. Let me see here. Okay, Robert says he's heading out to Cali Tuesday, need a backhaul. Oh, you're in a tanker. So we need to work on that for you, Robert. So you'll be empty. I'm heading out to Cali Tuesday. So you're going to get to Cali by when? Friday?
Yeah, that sounds about good. I think they got it. I think they got it at about 18, maybe 1,800 miles, I believe.
Okay. But are you hazmat endorsed too?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir. Hazmat.
Oh, okay.
Doubles, triple. I got the whole thing, bro. I refuse to be boxed in.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you're more marketable. You're more valuable because you get that hazmat stuff out there. So we'll see what we can get out there. Let's see, Tuesday, Friday. What city in Cali are you going to be empty in?
I think it's around L.A.
Okay, LA.
Actually, we get the paperwork tomorrow to see exactly, but I heard it's around L.A. area.
Okay. Okay. All right. We'll see what's going on with that. And then, yeah, be careful out there too, man. I know they got state of California. I spoke to LaWanda the other day, a few days ago. She said they got like the National Guard out there. So what's going on?
Wow.
Yeah. I know, right? Hopefully it won't get to a point where it's martial law. This can't be that serious. I mean, I know it's serious, but if it was as serious as we thought, it would be a national shutdown at this point, I would think. So.
Yeah, but you know, I got other thoughts about it, man, but I don't want to say.
You and me both. I already know where you are, bro. On the same page.
Yeah. Folks will be listening
yeah.
in.
Yes, Mike. Yeah, I'm going to reduce the monthly subscription rate back down from $39 to $19.99. Matter of fact, I'm going to change it around and do that. Let's see, what's the date? The 30th or 29th? So April 1st, I'm going to probably reduce that so it'll be more affordable for everybody. So instead of $39.99, it'll just be $19.99. So the initial sign up will be, of course, the same price, but then the monthly will be $19.99. So I'm going to advertise that and get that. If not April, definitely May. So I'm announcing it on this recording. So at the latest, May 1st, if not April 1st. So, okay. Mike said martial law next month. Ooh, I certainly hope not. They closed North Carolina down, so I can't go down into the Outer Banks. So we'll see. All right, guys. Be safe. Of course, wash your hands at least 20 seconds, what they're instructing. Social distancing, things like that. So All right, and I'll see you on Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. Any questions prior to that, you guys know how to reach me. The phone number, my cell phone is always with me. All right. Guys, have a good rest of your weekend.